We are live. Yay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ann Fawcett, and this is our Mondays at Morehill Mount Academy. Welcome. We have a special guest today. We have Mr. Christian Wessel, or Coach Wessel, or Wessel. And he is our house, basically oversees the entire house system at our school. He also teaches freshman, sophomore social studies. He also teaches our social studies English as a second language class. He oversees our campus ministry on campus. And he coaches quite a few things. And he is a graduate of Morehill Mount Academy. Okay, so Christian, I'm just gonna say Christian. Christian, go ahead. If you want to, just introduce yourself, and then we'll just get going. That sounds good.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Christian Wessel. I graduated class of 2016. My main focus up here is directing the house system and being the campus minister. We're actually like live in our house room, so you can see it there. This is kind of the place where everybody hangs out. We have small group in here. We do some Bible studies. We have our meetings in here, so it's pretty cool. I've coached a lot of sports for the school. So a little bit of everything, but it's a great place.
Yeah, I had him, just so everyone knows, I had him sit in the house room just because it kind of shows you, we have this extra space for the students, specifically our leadership, where they can plan and sometimes just hang out. But it's a really nice space that we can have for them that's comfortable, as you can see with all the lazy boys and couches. Okay, so Christian, I guess explain, I talk about the house system all the time and we have visitors, but what really is it, and what kind of is the purpose of the house system at Morehill Mount Academy?
Yeah, so the house system, it was put in place a little over 10 years ago, and it was designed to bring more of the school together. Your traditional high schools, everybody is freshmen here, sophomores here, juniors, seniors. And the house system's goal is to kind of break that down. You still have your classes and do all that stuff, but to bring more community in the school, to get to know more people, to get more kids involved through activities, through competitions. So there's 4 houses. There's Mother Teresa, Sebastian, George, and Gabe. And then within each of the 4 houses, there are 3 families, so a smaller cohort of students. And you stay in your same house and your same families all year. It's legacy based, and actually staying it all the way through your graduation. And so the main point is to get everybody to get to know each other, and build more of that community. It's also a good way to get your faculty involved. So our faculty gets to mentor, especially the family leaders, and the faculty. For them, they get to mentor their leader. They get to mentor the students in there with grades, with life support, extracurriculars, and all that good stuff.
Great. So how do we divide the houses up? Like if you, like a non-legacy student, because legacy students, they follow their brother and sister kind of into that house. But how would, like, if I was new student here, first one in my family, how would I be divided?
So if you're a new student and you're not legacy, it's honestly, it's kind of a wild card. We try to divide it up equally as possible. We try to get, a certain number of international students in a house, certain number of day students in a house, guys in a house, girls in a house. So it really just depends on where the luck of the draw is. And it is kind of interesting because sometimes the competition playing field shift. Sometimes you get a really strong athletic class in the house, and then you have a really strong academic class in the house. But it is a wild card if you're not a legacy student. And you find out on your Heritage Day, which is our induction day. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. So yeah, you find out the first week what house you're going to be in. And I know they're really creative in how they do it. So I guess, so you've got your teachers who are the mentors that kind of, guide the families and the house a little bit. What about the student leadership side? How does that broken out?
Yeah, so our student leadership get a lot of focus. So we have a head boy and a head girl, and they're kind of the student representatives of the entire system. So right now this year it's Drew Cottle and Ellen Miller. And then below them, you have 4 house captains. So each house has a captain that leads their house. And then below the captain of each house, you have a family leader who leads each cohort of the different families. And all of them take a leadership class. So it's a part of their day. And so in that leadership class, there's really 2 elements. There's one, the doing. So they do leadership, they plan activities, they organize events, they work through problems together. And then the other side of the class is that formation period. So they go through individual faith formation, they go through leadership formation, leadership training, and all of that. And they work together. Juniors and seniors are the only ones that would be eligible for those
Okay.
positions. And then to be a captain or head boy, head girl, you would need to be a senior.
And how, I guess, how do they apply? Can they start applying? So they start applying their sophomore year. Like, how's that process?
Yep. So anybody who is a sophomore or junior can start applying. They start in March typically. So there's an application process. And then depending on what you're running for, it looks a little bit different. So if you're running for one of those top positions, you have to give an address to the school. So there's a little public speaking element. And then you have a series of interviews. So I interview them. The administration will help you interview them. The captains and mentors from each house will interview. For family leaders, it's not quite as stringent of a process. They have an application period, and then they are interviewed by their incoming captain and house mentor.
Okay. So you probably select the house leaders first and then family, or is it selected all at the same time?
We do. We do house leaders first, and then they kind of help pick their team of family leaders.
Okay. So what are some of the, because I know that you guys build in family time and house time during the class schedule. I always tell families, think of this like a recess, like a brain break, but what are some of the fun things that they do? And then maybe what are some of the more serious, like actual, like working together through problems, like you said, things that they do?
Yeah, it's interesting. So on Tuesdays they have house, so their whole house meets together, and that's like 40, 50 kids, and so that's kind of a lot. And then and Thursday and Friday they meet, so they have one meeting that's 25 minutes, and then one meeting that's an hour. And so they do a whole list of things. So we've done anywhere from just a bunch of fun activities. So they play games. Spoons is a really popular one right now. Uno, Silent Ball, Murder in the Dark, which is not as intimidating as it sounds. Dodgeball, Open Gems. And then we've had prayer time. So we've done all school rosaries. We've done some Lectio Divina. And then lately what we've started to do is take this time and use it actually as like a formation period. So just do life check-ins, how are things going? What are questions that you have, about your faith? We watch some videos, we read some articles, we have some conversation about that. And so it starts with the fun, which is a really important element of community, but then we try to break it down and get a little bit more to the heart and use that as a time to form all of our students and our staff. Honestly, our staff, I think they get just as much out of it as the students do.
Yeah, I always tell our prospective parents that even though your kid might not have the chemistry teacher until their junior, senior year, they might have her as a family leader, and then you get to know them right away. So you get to know your teachers pretty quickly throughout the process.
You do.
What, I guess, final question, what's the ultimate goal of the year for the house? Like, what do they want to win?
Well, ultimately, the goal is to win the House Cup. So the House Cup goes to the house that has the most points. You accumulate points throughout different categories. So Benedictine points, so just positive student conduct, academics, doing well in your classes, competition, competing well, and then Charity Jeans Day, your involvement within the community ultimately, because we try to take that out. So the goal is to win the House Cup. But what's been really cool this year is I've seen a lot less focus on that from the students.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they want to win and they get extremely competitive and pretty rowdy at times. But our leadership group has talked about changing culture, changing culture within the world that we live in. And so there's just been so much more focus on we can play a game, we can have fun, we can be opponents, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. And so I think that's really been the focus of our leadership crew. And honestly, it's not just our leaders. It's so many kids across our student body that even if you don't have the title of a leader, that they're really, really impacting us.
Good. Well, that's awesome. Anything else to add for house system before we switch to campus ministry? Even though it seems like it's kind of one and the same, they cross over.
They coexist very closely with each other. So.
Well, thanks. I know this, house system is an important thing here, that a lot of students, that you see them sometimes be a little intimidated, not quite sure, but then especially Heritage Day, when everyone is super loud and excited, but then I think they really get into it, especially by doing the different activities, which is good. But another thing that I always love to highlight is our campus ministry, that, I always tell a family, whether you're Catholic or you're not Catholic, you're going to have a spiritual life here, and hopefully some sort of formation that we can help them with. We're not trying to take a non-Catholic and convert them to becoming a Catholic, but we want to make sure that they, have a spiritual experience here, and at least, walk away with some really good morals and values, whether it's from in the classes or through our retreats or whatever it is. So let's talk about campus ministry. So what is, I know it's a huge important here, but talk about some of the highlights, some of the things that we do here that we offer for families.
We do, yeah. So campus ministry, honestly, it's my most important job that I have here, which is, it's quite a blessing. So we have a whole list of things that we do. So we have every Sunday night, we have a life night, which takes place after the Life Teen Mass. So it's kind of your traditional youth group. It's co-ed. Guys and girls come together, they hang out in the hideout, they play games, we have talks, we have small group, we have time for prayer. And then we also have guys and girls groups. Those are more focused on individual formation. So we meet and we just talk about life situations and what's going on, and how to apply our faith in a practical way, an intensely practical way. We also have a litany of retreats that we offer. So we have an all-school retreat at the beginning of the year. And that's when I tell other youth ministers this, they don't believe me, but we take all of our student body and all of our staff and we bus them to Prairie Star Ranch for 2 nights and 3 days. And it's one of the first things we do as a school, to just dive into that faith, dive into the community, start asking some of the more serious questions, and it sets the stage immensely for the year. Our theme this year was the new fire. So talking about the Holy Spirit and his involvement in our lives. We also have another all-school retreat that takes place during Catholic Schools Week in January, which we just got over. The theme this year was Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord, and we focus on the one who split history. And then from that, we have other retreats. We have freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior retreats. Senior retreats, the one that gets the most discussion. They get their letters from their families and their friends to kind of culminate their high school experience. It's real special. And then on top of that, we have other opportunities. So we take kids to different conferences and events. Our main one is Cove Crest. That's in Georgia. It's a summer camp for a week. We started this program last year. We had 8 students. And this year, last time I checked, we have 22 kids signed up to go to Georgia.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's great.
It is. And it's awesome. And like Ann said, we're not in the business of selling a car, right? We're not in the business of forcing a belief on a student just so that we can check a box. We want what's best for each student, and we say we're in the business of saving souls. So wherever a kid is at in their faith, on their journey, like, we want to walk with them, we want to journey with them, and talk with them, and watch them grow. And it's amazing to see.
Yeah, because we get students from all around the world of different faith backgrounds, or we even get students who, maybe they've been in the public school system and haven't had that opportunity at their school to express themselves, or, try things. They have to find a youth group at home, and sometimes it's not possible. And, for our boarding students, I think it's a great opportunity for them to come here and have that support from not only just you, but also the administration, the faculty, even some of the staff here, their fellow students. I know the leaders that we have for our students, even like the head boy, head girl, and the house leaders play a huge role in that, in the retreats, and, guiding the students and telling their story too, especially to the freshmen. So.
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago. walking through the hall, and I saw some kids kind of huddled up in the corner, and typically when you're in high school and you see kids huddled up in the corner, it's a concern. And so being an adult, I walked over and I was like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And it was a boarding student who's not Catholic, and really isn't into their faith, just kind of having a rough day. And she actually asked some of her fellow students to just pray with her for a few minutes in passing period, which is something that they did on all school retreat. And so it's really special to see just how the Lord works and what He's doing. And it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm trying to think. Well, I guess if we had a prospective family walk in today, what would be some of the things, especially from what you do, what your role here is, with the house system campus ministry, what would be some of the top reasons to say why they should really consider having their child come here?
Yeah. I would start with the question is like, well, what do you want for your child? Right. And yes, we want your child to be academically successful. We want to be successful in our athletics and our extracurriculars. But what we focus on more so than anything is your child's heart. It's the soul. And it's building your child up to be the best man or woman that they can be. And we'll work tirelessly for that. And yes, there are times where there's growing pains. There's times where there's kind of confusion and chaos, but in the midst of it, our main purpose is to grow the individual, and we will do that through formation. We'll do that through retreats. We'll do that through just honestly the community we have in the hallways. The best way that we can minister to students, and so that's what I would say. I would say like that's our goal, and if that's something that you want for your child, this is a place that I think they can strive. I've seen so many people who have came through the doors of the school, probably me being one of them, who have just grown immensely in their faith. And then that's something that you take with you the rest of your life. And so that's my message I have to parents. I know a lot of schools say like community is important, faith is important, and whatever, and they have a nice web page for it. But this is one where we do it. We make it happen.
Yes, we definitely do. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christian. This has been a huge help. And I know a lot of our families will be watching this and hopefully take that to heart and come visit and then get to meet you and ask you more questions in person. But yeah, so thank you so much for this Monday at Morehill Mount Academy. And next week, just so everyone knows, we will have one of our border alumni, Megan Kleba, or now Megan Doherty, with us to talk about her experience. So thank you so much, Christian.
All right. Thanks.